Now let's talk about other editing menus. In the previous video, we already have talked about color menus, image, commands. So let's go over this. You can drag and drop any of these buttons to the button you want to change the color, then it will change the color. If you need a custom color, you just have to click on this guy, pick a color, click OK, drag and drop. But if you drop the button onto the map instead of any of these buttons, it will change the background color. So you can change the background color on the fly. Now let's move on to the image. The very first thing that you might want to do is setting up the path. You can click on the browse button and then you can choose a existing file such as this. Just click OK. We're not replacing anything. It was just a warning. I'm going to drag and drop this onto any of these buttons. Or if you want to make your own icon image, you can name your own image name, my test, for example, .png. In the current version of AnimClick, it only supports PNG compression. So click choose. Frame it, click. Now I got image icon. I can just drag and drop like this. If you want different size of the icon, you can always use this radio button to change it. You can give a custom size like this, however you like. Frame it, click. That's it. Now let's talk about the command. I have a button here. If I click that, it will select this object. What if I want to change that? If I want to select this object instead, I select this object and I drag and drop this button to this button. So now if I click this one, it will select this object instead. And these three buttons are doing the same thing, except it will also set manipulator to the move tool, for example, or to rotate tool or the scale tool. And let's say if I want this button to keyframe this object, then all I need to do is drag this button onto that guy. Now if I click on it, it will keyframe this object. This button will do the same thing, except this will keyframe transform attributes only. This one will keyframe only the selected attributes in the channel box when you create them. This is a toggle command. You can change the command to reset. You can change the command to reset with transform attributes only. The same thing, reset command with the selected attributes in the channel box when you create them. You can also change the command to range or pose. Now, we already have talked about this option before. If I go over this, if I check this option, it will keep the assigned object names. In other words, it will not change the membership. It will only change the command. This button will also change the command to the pose, but with only the transform attributes. This one does the same, but with the selected channels in the channel box when you create them. In the previous video, we already have used these buttons. If you just drag and drop, it will change the orientation of the sliders. Let me demonstrate that. I'm going to move this button right there. Let's say I want to have a pause button like this. Right now, this one doesn't have any slider. If I drag and drop this, it will change the slider position. Now it has on the right hand side of the button. If I drag this, it will go to the left. Drop that, it will go to the below. Drop this, the slider is above the button. If I drag no slider button, the slider will be gone. You can also change command to launch up one of the Maya's editors, such as reference editor, outliner, graph editor, dope sheet. For example, if I drag and drop this outliner command, if I click on this button, it will bring up the outliner. If I want a custom command, I have a shelf button here. What it does is if I click on it, it will create a polycube. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete this first. And then I'm going to drag and drop this shelf button to over here. Now, if I drag and drop this custom button to this button, now if I click on it, it will create the polycube.